horrific monster. That's who John List was. Self-centered, devious, cunning, and the acts that he committed were morally reprehensible.
How does this compare to other cases that you had over your career?
This was the slaughter of an entire family. It was cold, it was calculated, it was planned, and he then disappeared, and we didn't know where he was. And that was unlike any other case that I ever was involved in, and most of law enforcement and my colleagues were ever involved in. So this was unique in itself.
When did you first get involved in the case?
When I was assigned to the Major Crimes Unit at the Union County Prosecutor's Office in 1984, I got a hold of the case files, and I began to review them. They were in somewhat disarray because they'd been sitting in the evidence locker for a number of years. And I went through that case, piece by piece, paper by paper, photograph by photograph.
What was it like to read that file?
It was hurtful because, first of all, as a father with children, you look at that. As the children were coming home, he would execute them one by one. And then the son, John, he put multiple gunshots into that boy's head. I mean, it was just horrific. I mean, it was just like beyond the pale.
Obviously, you knew it was him. Did you have any clue where he was?
No, and law enforcement itself were somewhat flummoxed because they didn't know where he was or whether he was still alive or whether he was dead. And I took the position that you deal with evidence and facts, and since no evidence surfaced to the contrary that he had died, I assumed he was alive.
Were there any leads that you inherited or that you were following?
No, none at all. All the leads, the information that had come in, basically didn't lead us anywhere. We were nowhere on that file. Just John List had just disappeared.
I mean, back then, would it have been possible for him to have taken a flight under another name?
Oh, it's possible he could have. This is well before our digital age, and you purchased a ticket under whatever assumed name you had, and off you went. That was the end of it. It's quite easy back then. Quite easy. You change your social security number and you assumed a new identity. There was no prohibitions, basically.
One of the things you ultimately did was to go to a psychic.
I did.
Is that something you had ever done before?
No. And not that I particularly believed in the paranormal or really had any experience in that. But one of the other detectives in my unit had informed me that he had used this particular psychic, and it was somewhat helpful in determining a potential suspect. We had no leads whatsoever. I said, let me give this a shot. She said that List would be coming back to the gravesite on his birthday. I heard footsteps just a little bit before 12 o'clock.
What were you thinking?
This can't be. This cannot be. And it wasn't. It was two college kids cutting through the cemetery, so that was it. But it was quite an experience. So that was a dead end, but it was worth pursuing, and it was quite interesting. I began to watch America's Most Wanted, and I saw how successful this show was. I got a flyer from the Eastern Armed Robbery Conference, and at that particular meeting, they indicated that there was going to be a representative from America's Most Wanted soliciting possible cases to produce and put on their TV show. So the bells and the lights went off. I said, let me give this a shot. I went in there laser focused because I knew that if this didn't get televised, there was just no way that we were going to get List's image and face and story out across the country, because television was our most powerful medium at that time. This is well before our digital age. We were still using payphones. So I took him up to our hotel room and I laid the crime scene photos all across the beds. And he began to examine the crime scene photos, and based on that, he gave a tentative approval.
So I think it was May 21st, 1989 that the show is televised.
Yes. Sunday evening, if I believe.
Did you watch?
I did.
What'd you think?
I thought it was great. It was great. Kept my fingers crossed. After the show, I got a call, and he said, "We got him. The FBI just picked him up in Virginia." And we were just totally elated. So all that time, effort that we put in, it proved to be successful because it brought List to justice. And he was now going to be fully accountable, and he's going to go to trial for what he did to his family. And it was gratifying. The reasons, he had an intense belief in his religion, and I guess because he was unable to find work and support his family, he got in such a state that, for what he claims, is that the only way to save them was to send them to heaven. But I consider that somewhat selfish and self-centered because, you know what? Why didn't you just kill yourself? And he didn't do that. So what goes in the mind of a monster? I'm not really sure.